philosophy behind the design of the multiplayer in Tempest Rising also kind of harkens back to games that we grew up playing. First of all, we wanted to make sure that the game is properly balanced. And of course, we want to make sure that viable tactics that you used back in the day actually worked in a game like this.
One thing we did here was that we, somewhere along the production, we started splitting the balance between campaign and between multiplayer to make sure that you don't feel like you're forced to go one specific strategy to always win. That's something we have kept being very aware of in the design to make sure that there's enough pieces to move around, enough parts of the game to play with to come up with interesting strategies.
I think it started from wanting to respect the player's time. What we wanted was to kind of get right to the point. Get out there, you're harvesting resources, you're building tanks, you're building guys, and you're getting to the fun stuff, which is fighting, which is jockeying for position on the map, smashing armies into each other. In a lot of games, in a lot of RTS, there's a tension there between the various things you want to do. So a lot of the game was managing tensions between, well, we need this to be quick, but not too quick because that could cause problems. And a lot of design decisions are kind of managing these tensions.
There is no magic formula to balancing the multiplayer at all. Even today, we're still balancing the game. We've been balancing it for a long time. We probably will be balancing for a long time in the future. But our closed beta groups and our open betas have been such a huge help trying to make this feel like the classic RTS formula, but in a new and expanded way.
Especially UI-wise. For example, we have the Dynasty faction that has its own unique build system. Taking that and bringing it into the engine is one thing. Making it user-friendly and on par with the GDF, that can't be done without putting it in front of people and then seeing how they react.
How we balance the factions are generally through a lot of playtesting.
As many other professionals in many other areas, over time you just get blind to things you're doing, so we need input.
GDF was considered underpowered for a bit. We expected that was because people weren't playing them to their utmost abilities.
Oftentimes what happens is people will discover something about the GDF and they'll be like, "What? How do I beat this? What's going on?" And that's what we want. We want people to be surprised. As you learn the game, it kind of opens up.
Something we noticed in the closed beta then was that people started to figure out GDF and then suddenly they were more coming out on top a lot of the time.
So we might have imbalances that is only really perceived at the top 10% of players. The challenge there is course correcting in a way that only impacts the imbalance at the skill level where it exists without creating like a ripple effect where it all of a sudden swings the other way at higher level or lower levels.
It would be a great loss to GDF if you are unable to keep them alive.
Community feedback for designing multiplayer is the most valuable thing. I would say it's impossible to make a great multiplayer game of this scale and scope without player feedback.
We have done all the testing we could. We have played against each other in the office. We've played against the QA department. But the true test there was getting it in the hands of the community and seeing players of also a lot of different skill levels interact with the game.
Like, for example, some of the first feedback we got from the first demo was unit responsiveness. So that was some of the first things we improved right after that.
Like, we wanted something that felt snappy enough that you could play around with it, but also had a weight to it, so it didn't feel like you were moving around like plastic tanks, that it actually felt like a tank had weight to it.
Then later on, once we went through the closed beta, some of the feedback we got was air units. So that was also one of the things that we definitely increased dramatically responsiveness to those.
And being able to course correct based on that and polish based on that it's been absolutely essential to the process.
We have a lot of really passionate players. It's actually great. There's been a bunch of players who come in and they say, "What is this? I don't like this. This is ridiculous." And then they stick around and we've actually turned them around and made them kind of evangelists for the game, which feels really good.
Still with us, I see. How did he win you over?
If there was a specific moment when playing on the game that I felt changed everything, it was when we started getting in some of the nice-to-haves for the UI, like status effect updates. Why is this guy suddenly walking so slowly, for instance? And that made you a lot more aware of what is going on in the game.
The biggest design channels that I've encountered on the project, and I think I speak for more than myself on this one, it has definitely been around the UI. Whenever there's something new and cool we want to do with the game, the question always comes up, okay, but how do we communicate it to the player? So it's a gift that keeps on giving. Every time something new and cool, it's like, oh, we can just do this. It's like, yeah, but where should the icon go? What button do we use for it? How do we make sure that it doesn't take the focus away from something else that's really important? So I think, yeah, that is definitely That's definitely a huge challenge.
There was actually one point with the Tempest Dynasty where we were considering having actual power cords that connected your power plants to your buildings. And we spent some time trying to mock up how that would work. And we ended up dropping it because it got too complex.
And every single time you implement a new feature that's cool on paper and it's kind of fun to play, it can really throw a wrench into the rest of the game in a bad way. Because all of a sudden you make the game overly complex. Or by introducing this one new feature, all the other features of the game will have to be rebalanced, and then you're changing the entire game just to make this one thing fun, and everything else becomes less fun.
We have experienced a lot of mechanics that to us feels very intuitive because we made them up and we have had like years to get familiar with them. And then the moment you put it in front of a new player who's never seen the game before, none of it makes sense and it's hard for them to understand.
There's all kinds of things that you want to do, and in the end, a lot of the time, practicality and legibility or understandability rightfully wins the day on those things.
Our approach to mission design in Tempest Rising was pretty fun, actually. In the beginning, when we sat down with the game design, we wrote this document that included every single mission type that we could find in any single RTS game. And based on that, we then wrote a list of everything that we thought made us feel really good in RTS games. And then that list and the list of mission types, we cross-referenced them, and then, okay, now we have this bucket of mission types and objective types that they want in the game. Based on those, we gave the mission designers free hand to say, okay, we need this many missions. This is the main storyline of the game. Let's go.
There were levels where we needed to lean deeper into making it possible for the player to pick any route, because otherwise the player feels forced into a certain playstyle, and we never want to do that.
Because, okay, I'm in love with my porcupines now, I want to blow up everything with just them, and then suddenly there is a mission where they just don't work. Many people get stressed about that.
Yeah, sometimes we actually reward the players to explore a bit more, because the players that just want to build like a big army and just go through the main gate, they usually don't explore as much. They don't need that stuff. But the players that like to go in with a smaller group of like specialized units, they get rewarded for exploring the level. So they kind of make up for the lack of amount of units.
The philosophy behind multiplayer levels and the design of them are heavily based on equal playing field between both players, no matter what faction you're playing, trying to cater to basically all player strategies.
And it all starts with theory and a piece of paper. I would just lay out things I want to be the thing for this specific multiplayer map. Thinking all that, lay out the map in 3D and a lot of testing, guess what?
We were always expecting to have like smaller armies, quick tactics, close quarter combats, but saw that we were kind of lacking in more grand scheme designs that could let the player expand a lot more.
One crucial thing to have is player data, because people rarely are right about the root cause of an issue, and only data can hint on what that actually can be. So proper multiplayer balanced map is only possible after release of the game, after some time has passed. That's what I strongly believe in.
I hope players see the vision and passion behind Tempest Rising. The game is made by a group of people who are extremely passionate about what we do.
I hope that people see the energy and the passion, how much work people have put in, especially all my colleagues. I know someone like Fred, for example, Brandon, Melde, Christian as well, especially also the mission team for the single player campaign. Washe, John, Jacob, Dima, everybody across the entire studio, I'd say, has put a lot of energy, not just into the project, but also getting closer to each other and really bringing it across the finish line.
With all the work put into the project, I really hope that people are just gonna like it. It has been like really hard work and all, and it's been really fun, and I'm a bit sad that it's kind of over, but I'm also happy to see it finally out. After all this time, it has been an everyday occurrence for you, but for players it might just come up this week and it's like, oh, this game suddenly exists. And for them to see something you've poured blood, sweat and tears into for a long time, it's scary, but it's also exhilarating.
This team has never done an RTS before, but it's a team that was established to create what we always dreamt of seeing other studios do, but never did. So we're now doing it. Yes, this is our first game, bear with us. We have a lot of things to learn, but if enough people out there think that this is a journey they also like to partake in, and if they see potential in what we're doing here, support the game, because the more they do that, the more we can bring back RTS as it was back in the 90s, and we can make it big again, because we have so many plans for the next decade for this game and this franchise, and we just hope that we get to do this thing. Because if I could just talk about what we have planned for future games, those are dream games of mine to do, absolutely.